Fleet carriers. I'm going to make this short and sweet because you probably already clicked on the title knowing what it is. But for the people who don't know, fleet carriers are ships that serve as stations that you can own and customize. As well, move them to your liking. They are very expensive, costing 5 billion credits. The player has grinded the absolute life out of the game. And the amount of stuff you have on it make it have a weekly upkeep. This upkeep can be around 5 million of a minimum and a maximum of 28 million. Now that that's out of the way, fleet carriers are very boring. They really just sit around and serve as a station. You can move them, which, granted, is pretty useful sometimes, but at the cost of X amount of money every week, it's kinda not really worth it, especially if you take a long break from the game. So I made this video to give some suggestions. Maybe if FDev sees this one day, and as well to get other people's opinions. Starting with an upkeep rework. So with this, I'm going to say that we can keep upkeep, but here's how I majorly change it. It's simply you should be able to dock your fleet carrier at a station like any other ship, and everything stored on the fleet carrier will simply just be put in the station, except for cargo that will stay in there. When docked, it simply just disappears into the station. The upkeep goes from X to 0. This makes players who want to take a break from the game not get punished for not playing it. And FDev's reason why they have upkeep in the game is because how much server whatever it uses. I think by doing this, simply deleting the fleet carrier temporarily will make it significantly less server intensive without the player losing their ship. For my second part here, why the fuck can I not use this thing for combat? Now see, this is where things get a little bit interesting. I feel like you should be able to call in your fleet carrier like a capital ship, and be able to outfit your own weapons. It should have two modes, station mode and combat mode. Station mode is it does what it does now. Sits there doing normal fleet carrier things. But in combat mode, you will be able to call it in. It will fight alongside you, for whatever reason, legal or not legal. And it will use its combat mode weapons. These are not the station turrets, the one with the reverb cascade. You will be able to equip the normal pulse lasers, which it will be default, or the Empire's little plasma shooter thingies, I don't know what they're called. And you'll be able to mount the AX versions of those as well for my Xeno Hunter friends out there. Another option, you can mount your own size 3 turrets and or missiles, of which you can engineer. So, for my opinion on how to balance this, I made up some parameters that it should follow if you want to use the fleet carrier for combat. First, it must be undocked from the station. Second, you cannot call it in if it's farther than 25 light years away from you. Third, there cannot be more than 2 fleet carriers in a single instance. Fourth, there can only be 1 fleet carrier active per wing. This prevents, if you're attacking another wing, that one ring summoning in 2 fleet carriers and you get none. Fifth, you will not be able to use fixed or gimbal weapons on the fleet carriers, for obvious reasons. Sixth, the fleet carrier will have heat sinks placed, similar to the capital ships. If all those heat sinks are destroyed, it will be forced to retreat. This would possibly cost the player 10 million credits, or something along the lines of that. You should also be able to tell your fleet carrier to retreat. If you manually tell it to flee, it will not be able to be used in combat for another 10 minutes. If it's forced to retreat, you cannot use it for another hour because it will need time to repair. What if they just simply modify all of their weapons and put it on their fleet carrier? Wouldn't it be dangerously overpowered? My answer to that question is yes. Yes, it would be. By all accounts, it should be. Not only has the player grinded enough money to purchase a fleet carrier, but then that means they also grinded to modify each individual weapon on that thing. So, by all accounts, it should be a little overtuned. Not to mention, it still can't move. Even if all the weapons are modified with long range, you'll only be able to get like 6 kilometers out of it. If a player is smart, they'll just not be in the area, and will obviously take some time for the fleet carrier to get there, possibly like a minute. So they'll probably have enough time to run away before it can even fire. Thanks for watching. I know no one's probably watching this video, but if you do have your own opinions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Goodbye.